Hey guys, it's Lane the Project Guy. We've got a new tool in the workshop. The Dumore Tool Post Grinder has been a staple of the small lathe tool post grinding market. They're still in business. These grinders are still being made today, albeit with a few more safety guards on them. But you can order parts, you can order manuals. Anything you need for this grinder is still available from the original company. Let's look and see what we got. I have ordered some parts, replacement parts for the grinder. It did come with some, but it's in this nice case. Got some oil that came with it. I'll explain these pieces, and I'll explain these pieces. So the tool post grinder itself is 110 volt. It mounts on the compound of my tool post, and you can change the size of these pulleys to vary the RPM of the grinder. And then you can add your grinding wheel on this end. For some of the larger grinding wheels, you can take this guard off and put a larger wheel on there. They make numerous sizes of these wheels and abrasive levels. The pulley sizes, you can see this is the largest one, and that would change the RPM quite a bit. There's some little small ones, and so you got quite a bit of variance on the RPM. It's not infinite, but there is some combinations there. This is an inside grinding attachment, so if you're grinding inside of a piece on the lathe, you can, of course, this would remain here. Your piece would be turning, and this would spin and grind the inside of a bore. Then it came with some grinding wheels. I went ahead and ordered some new ones from Dumore because I needed some different inside grinding diameters. But the main thing I wanted from them was the wheel dressing attachment. That was missing. And this is a diamond tip. You put a piece of stock in your lathe, clamp this to it, and then you can use this to grind your wheel true before you start your grinding operation on your product. The grinder, when it mounts on the tool post, it came with this stock mount. And what this is designed to do is be universal, so no matter how wide your tool post attachment slot is, this can turn and grab it. And on mine, it was just grabbing by the tips. And so I didn't like that. I was afraid it was going to break out my compound mount. And the previous owner felt the same way. So he had made this to mount the grinder with. And you can see how that's a much sturdier mount than what it came with. And you're not in danger of breaking out the edges on your lathe compound. The problem is that this is not dimensioned to fit the slot on my compound. So this will have to be modified some. It's got to be narrower, and I've got to take a little bit of the height off of it. But we can make that work. The previous owner had also made an extension to get the grinder further forward on the tool post mount. I'm not sure if I'll need that or not, but I'm sure it'll come in handy if I do need it. So let's get this over to the lathe and show you how it's mounted after we modify our little piece here. All right, so over to the Bridgeport, and it's time to take a measurement, see how much material we need to take off. And then I ran down both sides of this T-nut and got that dimension machined down to the proper size. At that point, we'll come in and vacuum up the chips. It's something I do just about between every operation. And measure it, make sure that we're on dimension. 1.155, I believe is what that showed. And flip it over and put it on some parallels, tap it in so that it's lifted up off the vise so I can machine the rest of the sides without damaging my vise. I didn't show centering this piece up using an edge finder and the DRO, but I did do that before I started milling. Take the same amount from either side, run over and machine this other side. And I like how this is looking, and probably was about a 30-minute process all in real time. It didn't require much accuracy. I just need to get it to fit. Once again, vacuum chips up and serious about cleanliness. Come in and measure it, make sure we're good on that dimension and parallel. And it's a pretty easy job. Now bring in the fly cutter. And this is a pretty old fly cutter, but it's my favorite. I've got ones with inserts, but this one with the high-speed steel tooling is easy to sharpen and just does a beautiful job. So get the speed set right and let it go. Usually use some lubricant with this fly cutter, but I chose not to this time. I was just trying to knock this out. And you can see me speed it up there about halfway through the cut. I was trying to get a little bit better finish than what it was showing. And it turned out to have a pretty nice finish. Guys, don't reach in and touch it like I just did. That's a bad example to you guys. But as you can see, it's a pretty finish. You could hit that with some 800 grit sandpaper on a plate and you'd have a mirror finish. Go over and check it for fit on the lathe. It wouldn't even go in this slot before. So I'm liking the way that fits. That will not put any undue pressure on any single part of that compound. It's going to work great. So thread my stud into it, get back over to the lathe, and see if we can mount up this tool post grinder. It just slides over the stud, and then there's a nut that fastens down. There's an Allen screw on the right side of that post that allows you to slide the grinder vertically and to pivot it on the horizontal plane. So I decided the best way to center it was to use these divots in the shaft where it was turned on centers back when it was made. And I can pin it from both ends, and that gets me perfectly aligned. And here's my little Allen screw I can tighten, and that'll cinch everything down and have the tool post grinder perpendicular to the work. And I put a little tool that I bought from Dumore on some stock, and it's a diamond tool. So just for the purposes of this video, I put some Sharpie on there and let you see kind of what's going on as we pass across the diamond. You'll see there's a divot in the center of the wheel. It's concave there, which would be expected if this wheel had not been dressed between usage. So I cranked it in a ooch and ran it back across again, and now we have a cleaned up surface that's parallel to our stock. All right, got a little bit of an interrupted cut. I didn't take time to true up this stock, but you can see we're making our grind, and it's turning out it's going to be a mirror finish. This is the first time I've used a tool post grinder, so I'm kind of learning as I go, and I've got a lot more learning to do, but Appreciate you sticking around to the end. And if you would, please subscribe to Laying the Project Guide. And watch us in the workshop as we're putting our tools to use. All right, just a second, we'll get to see what kind of finish we end up with. Got this sped up a little bit, as you can see right here at the end, just to get it done and shut it down. Still got a little bit of an interrupted grind going on, but it's a mirror finish. Thanks, guys.